The biggest resistance is myself. I don't believe in putting resistance from something that is happening to me on other people because it's my projection and I'm looking for a victim. I'm looking for a place to place the blame. And if I allow those people, those things to get to me, it's me who allows it to become a resistance. I'm Randy, 28 years old. I live in Montreal. I am your creative producer, photographer, and at times art director, since I conceptualize everything. It was kind of always there, like just taking family pictures and everything, but I was like, coming from an immigrant home, I had to like work, school, work. So I never had the headspace to think, what do I excel at? What could I excel at? And then when COVID started, everything is a COVID story, but when COVID started, I bought off my friend a point and shoot film camera. Yeah. From that came, okay, I want to play with light, I want to play with clothes, I want to play with makeup, I want to play with subjects, different intonation, different expressions, and it led me to today. For every single photo shoot, the more I do it, the more I realize you need 4 good components. The first one is you need a good model, you need a good makeup artist, hair, H&U, you need a good stylist, and you also need good light. When I choose my team, I make sure that, one, I get people who understand the kind of light I want to use. So this is why when you saw Jay is also a photographer, he's my friend, and I've been hiring him for work, we've been shooting together sometimes too, and like, I know he understands the light. He also has the same, around the same palette as what I want to do. The stylist, my cousin Femi, he's from Toronto, he came to the city, and he's like really making noise right now. So I always try to give him a more challengeful shoot. And then for the makeup, I hired Shiny for work before, and I knew that she was like very talented, she's good, and she's been doing it for years. And what I also liked is that the makeup that you saw during the shoot was mostly her suggestion. For the shoot, the scenery was mostly to talk about trauma. So I wanted to place my subjects, like the male and the female model, in a setting where trauma, as we all know, starts at home with family, where we're most comfortable in, but we have no idea that we carry them with us. There are those bags that we think are our personality, or like just a little bit of like who we are. So I wanted to take the subject, bring it from home where the trauma is getting built up, and get them in a very cold setting outside in the world where they tend to realize, okay, I do carry those bags and they're heavy. So I wanted to play with a lot of darkness and light, a lot of shadow. The bags are a little bit annoying. They're a hindrance. They're a hindrance to the subject. They're a hindrance to you looking at the picture. While working on yourself, you realize that like, okay, I'm not a person who needs to carry all that trauma with me. It's part of me, but we don't need to fight this trauma. We can accept it, we can work with it, and we can find a way around being our authentic self while knowing that we still carry this story with us. So we can still view it as the viewer, which is beautiful, instead of view it as a victim, the subject, painful.
Comme tu viens de tomber du sofa, et puis comme tu essaies de te relever, mais comme tu reprends ton souffle, tu es énervé, puis comme
I'm not a photographer who shoots like 2,000 pictures per shoot. I really take my time and I see the picture before I take the picture. By snapping many shots, you will get 1 to 5 shots where the model is completely herself, natural, in the setting, she understands the concept, And for that brief moment in time, she's moving exactly like how you pictured it in your head. That way for me is a gamble. I feel it when I look at my viewfinder and I know it's a good shot and I take it. But that in terms requires a lot of direction. So the model who's not really attuned and not in my head cannot understand exactly what I want. So to make sure that everything is good, I really take my time. I do a little bit of storytelling. I tend to talk a lot when I shoot, but it's really important that like the people around me and especially the model understands the world I'm trying to bring them in so that they can be that persona and act as if they were that person. So like that every single snap would be of that persona instead of just the model as herself moving in to the setting that I've placed without being in my world. I always see a shoot like as it's like a dance, it's like a communication. Like the camera is just a medium. It's really about like the experience, the feel. Once that person is in that world, feeling what you want to give off and embodying that persona, like the job is done. Now you take the medium, the camera, and you just take memories of that moment. The pictures I feel are just like the little output, the gratification output of spending that good time. So I was like, okay, maybe I should focus on getting more good time, and while I'm at it, do even more professional looking pictures. When you shoot digital, I feel like you spend less time processing everything that's happening in the scene. And you spend less time actually being in tune with the setting you're trying to set. But when you shoot film, there's already that financial aspect to things that you're very conscious of. So I have 24, I have 36, or if you shoot medium format, I have 12, 16 shots. Like, they need to count. So the thought process behind a single shot is way more pushed on film as it is on digital. I always like to give myself like that little challenge of how far can I push my thinking before I take a picture? What do I want to see? Am I seeing it? No. So why do you take the picture? Take the picture when it only feels right, everything is right in the scene, and the moment is capturable. I took my film concept, my film habits, placed it on digital, and sometimes I end a creative with like 300 pictures or 250. But out of those 250, maybe like 50, 100 are good. And then out of those, then we concise it to like a solid 12, 15 that are not repetitive. I dream big, and the things that I'm doing right now, I feel like it's just for me to get prepared in order to be thrown off to many different settings. But I ultimately want to have such a distinct signature that you have no choice but to book me. Like, I'll have an aesthetic and a work ethic so good that people are just like, okay, well, if I want that result, I need to book Randy. A lot of pictures are good pictures, but the people out there, the creators out there are making photographs. They're actually building, like creating photographs, and it sets them apart. What you're trying to achieve, the intentions that you put behind, the work that you've put behind, everything everything in the setting before taking a picture is gonna set the difference between a picture and a photograph. So people like Renald Nice, Gabriel Moses, like East London, they're there, and their touch, their aesthetic is so distinct that it's not a picture anymore. It's a photograph. It's something that you want to print, hang on the wall, something that you want to see in a book. It's something that I'm not even surprised if it ends up at a museum. So that's what I want. I just don't want good pictures. I want to build photographs.
Compliqué dans la photo ici, c'est vraiment juste le pied. Jeans va venir bien, l'épaule, tout ça va être nice. La lumière va venir ici, ça tu vas aussi. Est-ce que je peux avoir un numéro
it's weird to say, it's bittersweet. Social media is like, it's a good place if you have the heart to take in the hard facts, which is if you compare yourself to people who just started, obviously you're gonna be good. And if you compare yourself to people who's always done it for like 40, 50 years, of course you have a lot of work to do. But your perspective, how you go about it and how you deal with yourself is gonna make that social media experience different. So I don't really like it because it's hard. And it's hard because some people are very close to us and we see them win. And like it or not, we're all a little bit selfish about our own wins. We want to win too. We're also happy that they won. But you're looking at yourself at the end of the day and you're like, I'm not there yet. Or how did they do that? I can't even do that yet. Or stuff like that. So just knowing that there's a close example of where you want to be, but you're not there yet, it's gonna hit harder than if it was a stranger. And the second thing why I don't really like social media is also for that. So the content that you see on social media, if you have a set goal in your mind of like how you want things to look, for example, me as a photographer, I'm not gonna look at images that I don't want to keep in mind. But social media doesn't know that. They're just gonna give you everything. So you're polluting your brain of images that do not have a place in your head. So in order to move forward, it's gonna be a little bit harder than if you actually focus on seeing the things that you want to see all the time, and that's the only thing you see up until what you make is exactly like what you see. But on social media, there's a bunch of everything. So trying to find like that little path in a sea of just like content, it's gonna be harder than just a single lane. When I first started, everyone projected their fear of not succeeding as a photographer onto me, for me to just stay in a place where everything is kind of secure, and then you go to work, you come back home, and then at a certain age, you get a partner, and then you settle for a house, and then boom. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you know, like I knew I wanted to do like a little more adventure. I knew I wanted to actually like create something tangible, and then not just live a life, work for somebody and like leave with nothing. But I wanted to leave with actually leaving stuff on earth. So I was like, photography is something that I do well. I can hone it, I can work on it. So I'm gonna put my focus on it. Human to human, I just wanna say, create, 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 like non-stop, create, create, don't stop, create, create, all the time, in your head and out in the world, always. And I feel like that's the secret. It's consistency, but like keep looking at what did not work. Keep trying to always push yourself to like the maximum output for the next one, and the maximum, and the maximum. Like I always treat my shoot as like that could be the one shoot from something. I always see a shoot like that. That could be one shoot from a Vogue cover. That could be one shoot from photographing with that person. That could be one. It always can be one shoot.